Hi, this is Zach Anderson with Molo Media, and I'm here with Dr. Jeff Parton. He's a chiropractor in Bellevue, Washington, actually located on Mercer Island. And just wanted to ask him a couple questions really quickly, kind of get some feedback on as to how to actually find a chiropractor, some of the things that you should look for, and different things like that. So, Dr. Parton, what are some of the most important things for an individual when they're searching for a chiropractor? What should they look for on the internet to find a quality chiropractor these days?
Well, one thing I think you're going to look for is you want to see if other people have been satisfied with their experience. So you can look at a lot of the search engines. They have referrals or reviews on there. And I know our office has a lot of reviews on Yelp and a lot on Google. So that's one thing you want to make sure that just looking at their reputation. You know, another thing is just you want to make sure that their philosophy jives with what you're looking for. I am a structural chiropractor, and we do a lot of structural work, so we can actually like really fix things. So if you want long-term lasting changes, you're going to want to come see somebody that does things like us, like a structural chiropractor.
Oh, that's great. You know, speaking of which, actually, my wife got, or we actually got in an accident about 2 years ago, and she's always seen chiropractors for her whole entire life. And you know, it was pretty impressive to see how much of a difference that made in her recovery. You know, a lot of people probably don't think of, you know, a chiropractor when they think of a car accident. How is it that a chiropractor can help you if you get in a car accident and have like whiplash or something like that? What do you guys do that is so beneficial?
Well, one thing, let me just kind of describe what whiplash is. It's basically, it's called an acceleration deceleration injury. So what'll happen is your head gets thrown forward. Now, I don't know if any of you guys took physics in high school and you remember like Newton's laws, but one of those laws he had was like an object in rest will tend to stay at rest. So if you get in an accident and your neck's not moving, then it gets thrown forward, the neck's going to want to stay in the position that it's in, and that can cause you to lose the curve in your neck and have a whiplash injury. And if you have a whiplash injury and lose the curve in your neck, then what will happen is all the muscles are going to get really tight and they're going to splint in the area, and it's actually going to cause your head to sit on your shoulders a lot more forward than it should, which is going to cause you to feel more tired and you'll have less energy, and it's going to affect your range of motion, and it could or could not cause pain in the area. But what we do as a chiropractor is there's like postural exercises we can do, specific adjustments that we can do with the goal to try and restore that curve of the neck, restore function, and restore range of motion. So we try to do specific adjustments to get your curve back and get that range of motion back to what it could be or should be. So it will help you get out of pain a lot faster, and you're going to get long-term lasting results if you go to a chiropractor as well.
Speaking of which, you know, I've always wondered this myself. How often should you actually go and see the chiropractor? Just say if you weren't injured or anything like that. I golf a lot, so should I be going to the chiropractor every week, every 2 weeks? How do you determine how often you should actually go and visit a chiropractor?
Well, that's an interesting question, and for a lot of people, it depends on what their frame of reference is. If they have no experience with going to a chiropractor, I equate it to like how often do you go to the dentist? I mean, how often do you go to the dentist, Zach?
Every 6 months.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, they used to tell us it was every year, and now they've changed it to every 6 months. And people are really good about that, about making those appointments and being really almost like religious about doing that. Unfortunately, people don't really know a lot about their spine and their nervous system. But what'll happen is when your spine shifts or moves out of place, you can have pressure on your spinal nerves or your spinal cord, and that can cause where your body doesn't work to its full potential. So you could go to a chiropractor and you could get aligned or get reasonably well aligned, and then you could like step off the curb as you're walking out of my office. Or, I mean, there's so many things that can cause problems with your spine or cause things to happen where things shift out of place. It can be like how you sleep, sitting at a computer, accidents, falls, injuries, gravity, strenuous exercise. All those things can cause the spine to shift out of alignment. So it depends on how long you want to go with your spine under stress. Now, what I do and what I tell my patients to do, and the ones that get the best results, is I tell them to go once a week. And that, for a lot of people, is like, wow, that's an extreme amount of time, and it's very often. But if you figure If there's 176 hours in the week or whatever it is, I mean, why would you want to have your spine, and more importantly, your spinal cord, under stress for 6 days? I mean, you want to make sure that it's optimized and working to its full potential. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. That brings up another question that I have out of just curiosity. I actually, had some problems that my back started hurting, and what I decided to do was I got a stand-up desk and a nice, a good mat underneath it. And ever since I've done that, I basically really don't have that much problems anymore. Are there things like that that actually can help out with posture in between, chiropractic adjustments and things like that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, posture is so important to your spine, and that's one thing we focus on is, what you're doing at home, what you're doing at work, because when you're doing things at work, you can do things that can cause your spine to shift out of place. We actually call that a subluxation. That's what it is when the bones move out of place. But if you're sitting, and most people who are sitting at a computer, they're not sitting with good posture, and it's causing more stress to their spine, and that can cause them to be really sore or uncomfortable. So you want to sit like with good posture. So your knees need to be bent at 90, your pelvis needs to be bent at 90 degrees, and you want to look set straight up, and you want to look basically forward and a little bit down. Now, most people's workstations are not like that. Now, one of the really good things for people to do is stand up, but got to make sure you're standing in good position, because a lot of people, if they have problems with their spine or if things aren't balanced, which I find like 90% of people that come in here, if they've never gone to a chiropractor before, they have, like, one of the things I'll do is I'll have them get on scales, like bilateral scales, and it'll tell me how they distribute weight between the two sides of their body. And they could be putting like 10 pounds, 20 pounds more on one side of the body. So if you're standing at your workstation and you got more weight on one side, or if you're a runner or whatever, I mean, that's going to cause problems over time too. So it's really important that things are balanced and you don't have any asymmetries there too, though. But obviously, like I said, there's a lot of things you can do posture-wise to prevent that too, and that's one of the things we really focus on and talk about too.
Well, that's great. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to get on this interview really quickly. Do you have any last parting words for people in regards to how they can protect their spine and protect their back and make sure that they're living more of a healthy life?
Well, it's really tough to know exactly how healthy your spine is. I mean, everybody bases health on how they feel, like if they have any symptoms. And that's so dangerous because there's a lot of things that don't necessarily have any symptoms. Heart attacks, cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes. I mean, you could have all those things don't necessarily have any symptoms. And you only get symptoms when it's really, really, really bad. So you could have where your spine's out of alignment. So the best way to know if your spine's healthy is to take an x-ray. Now, obviously not everybody has the capability to take an x-ray, but you can look at somebody. I mean, you see these people that have where their head's going forward, or if you have to go to a tailor and you got one arm longer or one leg longer, the classic sign that says, okay, your spine's out of alignment is if you have to like shoulder check and you have to do that old robot kind of neck or whatever, like to turn, or you can't put your chin over your shoulder. I mean, all those things will tell you the spine's out of alignment. Or if you look at somebody one shoulder's higher, and if you have a friend or a family member that has those things, then the spine's not lined up. But obviously, if somebody's taking medicine for headaches or neck pain or low back pain, or if they have any other kind of symptoms or problems going on, it could be something they could benefit from a chiropractor. So I would just say, if you do have any of those things, give us a call, get your spine checked, and we do offer complimentary consultations. So people come in and they can talk to us and find out what's going on, and I will talk to them and tell them if it's a chiropractic problem, and if it's not a chiropractic problem, then I'll tell them where to go and how they can be helped.
Great. So what's the easiest way for people to get a hold of you or come into your office?
They can call us. Our phone number is 206-232-6653. Or they can email me, and my email address is drjeff, drjeff at michiro.org. That's okay. drjeff at michiro.org. So either one of those is really fine. Or if you really want to get really advanced, you could go to Schedulicity and just type in Mercer Island Chiropractic. That's Schedule I City, and you can find our office there, and you can book an appointment online. You don't even have to talk to us.
That makes life easy, especially with all of us in this technological world that we have these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, hey, again, I really appreciate for you coming on, and I'm sure people appreciate that, and I look forward to going over some of these again with you here in a couple weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Have a good day.
You too.